Main event time coming up this weekend at strawweight. We have Marina Rodriguez taking on Amanda Lemos. Brazil versus Brazil for an opportunity at the title. And just a few weeks ago, we had a main event under somewhat similar circumstances at strawweight. Mackenzie Dern taking on Yan Xiaonan. Xiaonan with a very impressive win there. And for Rodriguez, kind of feels like she should have already had a title shot 100%. At this point. She fought Yan Xiaonan her last time out. Very controversial decision win for Rodriguez in that fight. And if she had an impressive win, that probably would have been the opportunity. But now she finds herself in her third main event in the last couple of years against Amanda Lemos. Now, Amanda Lemos had her first main event earlier on this year and laid an egg.
A little underwhelming, yeah.
Laid an egg against the former champ Jessica Andrade. Got finished, but she followed it up her last time out. Performance bonus, submitted Michelle Waterson Gomez. So, Matt, when it does come down to this matchup, I hate to oversimplify it. I really do this early on into a video. Listen, Rodriguez, we've seen her in 5-round fights. Her style is conducive to winning 5-round fights. Death by 1,000 cut, but good power when she needs to use it. I throw it over to the fight that she had against Amanda Hebus not that long ago. Rodriguez has struggled against the threat of the takedown in some of her fights. One of the draws that she has is against Randa Marcos, the loss to the now champ, Carla Esparza. Those were the issues in those fights. She fought Claudia Gadelha a little while ago as well. A little bit in that one. But if you consider it for Lemos, look at her fight against like Angela Hill. Drops early on, but kind of blew that load a little early and struggled with some of the volume as the fight went on. That was a controversial win for Lemos in the last calendar year, but she is a finisher in this division that we don't see that often. Wins over Montserrat Conejo, Livia Souza, the former Invicta champ in the last couple of years, and then again, the aforementioned Waterson Gomez. So won't come to a surprise to many people when I say if it's going to be a finish, you would assume Lemos, unless exhaustion plays a part. Rodriguez, death by 1,000 cuts, she's able to take over. But when I look at a matchup like this, I do have X factors either way, and I will sway one way more than the other. But you look at it, Matt, and I feel like a lot of people, the odds included, are going to sway towards Rodriguez.
And it does make sense because we have seen her prove it against a lot more top-level competition. Like, Lemos, if we're being completely honest, did struggle in her fight against Angela Hill, who, not that Angela Hill is a disrespected contender at this stage of her career, but think about it like Sam Cassell at the end of his career, you know? He was really good. But
just like holding his balls on the court?
That's true. Fred VanVleet hit the Philadelphia 76ers with a buzzer beater last season in the regular season and did that celebration running down the court to Sam Cassell's their assistant head coach, and that's gangster as fuck. But for Amanda Lemos, we have seen her struggle, like you had mentioned, with some fighters who, again, their apex skills aren't necessarily the same as someone like Marina Rodriguez, but at least physically they do match up with her in the strawweight division because there's not a lot of these long, rangy strikers in the division, but the ones who are built in that type are at the top of the division. Like, think about Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I know recently retired, but still was able to run the division for a very long time. Marina Rodriguez, to me, is somewhat the spiritual successor to a Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I know she doesn't have necessarily the Muay Thai background of someone like Joanna, but Rodriguez, good takedown defense, although struggles defensively once the fight does hit the mat with her grappling. I just think for Rodriguez, that's the position that she is trying to fill. We just don't really know if she's going to be able to share a lot of those same defensive skills that Joanna does. Because the thing that you forget about Joanna is, remember how good her takedown defense was back in the day? Jessica Andrade picked her up over her head, and Joanna still didn't get taken down by it because her balance is that good. Those are the skills that Rodriguez is going to have to work on as she does keep on fighting these top-level competitions, but she's not going to have to worry about that against someone like Amanda Lemos, who is going to go in there, use a lot of the same striking that she is, and is going to fight at a similar range that Rodriguez is. I'm just curious to see, when does Lemos start to slow down? Because on the feet, both these fighters, I would say, have very good power for the division, even though Lemos is more of an outlier, I would say, more of that one-punch hitter-quitter type power, even though for Rodriguez, she's someone who can damage a fighter as the fight progresses, especially in a 5-round atmosphere. So I guess for this fight, I think the 5 rounds are really important. If this is a 3-round fight, I think Lemos would have an area where she could win. Look really dominant with her own power striking early on. Maybe give up the 3rd round, but hey, that happens to a lot of fighters. I just think with this being a 5-round fight, it uniquely suits the skill set of someone like Marina Rodriguez.
Well, getting ready for Lemos versus Andrade, I look at Andrade, and Lemos is just kind of a, not a lesser
The
version,
store
but
brand version.
yeah, put it that way. Like, you go to, like, TJ Maxx and you'd find Amanda Lemos cereal next to the Pop Rocks.
She's like Kirkland. Like, no name, you're
No,
struggling.
Kirkland stuff's really good.
That's what I mean. Like, Amanda Lemos is Kirkland. It's good. It's borderline brand name. It's not like no name you get from Superstore where you're like, oh, this is
Kirkland's
tough.
sometimes better than brand name. I don't want to
That's
talk
my
for big
whole
box
point
store.
about Amanda Lemos, though.
You don't have to
Kirkland
show.
is as good of a no-name product as you can be. So for Lemos, yes, she might be somewhat of a store brand version, but she is the highest quality version that you can possibly be for a store brand.
Regardless, I mean, Lemos, when I looked at her in that fight against Andrade, both have good takedowns, both have good power punching.
Huge.
I had that one as close. Andrade gets the win, but for Lemos in this one, I could see her going out there, earning the takedown, getting a quick finish. I could also see Rodriguez taking it into the deeper waters and just continuing her role. We look at our Instagram page. It's at Fight Night Picks. We throw polls out there all the time. 65% of you have Rodriguez to get the win. We threw it out there to you in the YouTube community tab. We look at the YouTube community tab. Refresh it. We will. We have a look at the total votes that are over there. 71% going with Marina Rodriguez, but we always throw it over to your comments. You're not commenting very often. Travis saying Lemos is dangerous, but it's hard to go against Rodriguez here. She's just too well-rounded. Michigonian, Marina wins minutes on the feet. Lemos wins minutes on the ground. Rodriguez will lose a round or two because of this, but will be able to keep it standing. Henke, I think Lemos catches her for some reason, and Jay
Like
says...
Tom Henke, the great closer for the Jays?
Lemon's weight cut will get her drained during the later rounds. Rodriguez has cardio experience for 5 rounds. I think Rodriguez has that opportunity. She's a minus 215 favorite. Rodriguez open minus 160. Lemos open plus 130, plus 172 as it is. I think Lemos has a great opportunity here. I think if you like her early, go for that if that's your feeling here. But when I do look at that fight against Angela Hill, that gives me pause. Drops her early, spends a lot of time in top control, round 2, round 3, didn't have the cardio. I thought Hill won that fight. The fight against Andrade gets finished. The fight years ago against Leslie Smith at bantamweight is really weird.
Yeah.
It's wild, and Smith takes over and gets a win. But for me, I like Rodriguez. I like the volume. The takedown defense gives me a bit of pause, especially early. So I have questions in the back of my mind about taking Lemos, about taking her very early, but I will go with Rodriguez here.
The good thing for Lemos, it's not like she's fighting a wrestler where, okay, on the feet she has a clear advantage, and on the mat she has a clear disadvantage. The majority of this fight is going to be contested in an area that she can have success in. I just think the 5 rounds is more suited towards Marina Rodriguez's style. I like her output. I like her steadiness as the fight goes on. Maybe Lemos can hurt Rodriguez early on in the fight, and maybe just be steady and kind of match her output as the fight progresses, because if Rodriguez gets hurt by a big shot early on in the fight, it might make her a little bit more tentative as it progresses. So again, there's definitely a world where Lemos can win this one, but I agree. I do like Rodriguez mainly for her steadiness in the 25-minute atmosphere.
Hey, we're back to the intro that we start all of these videos at. We've never done this. Listen, make your picks below. Let us know who you have in all of these matchups. 13 fights announced at the start of the week, but as you know, last week there was only 9, and they were gonna add more. We're at the time of the year where things are moving. They're shape-shifting. You want to end 2022 on a high note. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. It certainly helps us out a lot. A like is appreciated. And Matt, a little treat on Saturday. What do we have 2 hours before the prelims?
We've got this great show known as Question Mark Kicks. If you love the technique that Luke Rockhold has borderline perfected, then you should love the show that we have 2 hours before it starts. We give you a little bit of time. Go out, buy your snacks after the show's done, just so you can come back and watch the fights. But again, it's just an opportunity for us to go back, look over any of our final predictions. If there was someone who missed weight, maybe they looked really bad on the scales, even if they did miss, or even if they did make weight, it gives us the chance to go back and revise some of our picks. But yeah, it's just a great chance to talk to you guys about the fights a little bit more, and that's the best part about this. I don't know a lot of people in my regular life who like MMA. I know people who like basketball. We're Canadians, so I know a lot of people who like hockey. I know people who like football and baseball. Not a lot of people in my day-to-day like MMA though, but you guys do, so I love keeping the discussion going as the week progresses.
Thanks so much for the support, so much for tuning in. Looking forward to a big week with Fight Night Picks. Keep it locked in, and as we always say,
Let's get into it.